got mail. I got mail. Come on in here and see my mail. You know you want to see my mail because I got mail. Hi friends, welcome back to Shelby in the Book Club. I am Shelby Monet, and if you knew the song that I just sang, then you know that this video is about to be a book haul. I got book mail. Y'all know that shopping for books and reading books are two completely different hobbies. They fulfill two completely different needs. And I partake in both of them. And I want you to partake in both of them too, because there's just nothing like being in a bookstore. There's nothing like shopping for new books, finding new authors and reading things outside of your comfort zone and all those things. So if you would like to see all the books that I got, here you go. Before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and also share. We're almost to 2K. We are almost to 2K subscribers, and I'm super excited about it. I've been working on this channel for a long time, and it is really one of my favorite things to do, to come and sit in this room and talk to y'all about books in front of my messy behind bookshelf. So tell your friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you want any of the books that I talk about in this video, they will be in my Amazon storefront if you would like to support me. Without further ado, here we go. Okay, so first I want to start with my little stack here of paperbacks. I have fallen in love with paperbacks again. It depends on my mood, right? It depends on the way the wind blowing. Sometimes I love a hardcover book. Sometimes I hate hardcover books. Sometimes I read my hardcovers with the dust jackets on them. Other times I despise that. It just depends. Shout out to people that have sensory issues. We out here. First up, we have my search for Warren Harding. I picked this up, like most of my books, from my favorite little bookstore here in New Jersey called Watchung Booksellers in Montclair. It is my favorite little spot to go to. And this was a staff pick, and it's supposed to be a comedy about a historian writing about the love life of the 29th president, Warren Harding. The synopsis made me giggle. When I say read outside of your comfort zone, this is what I mean. This does not look like a book I would ever pick up, right? This isn't even necessarily a topic that I care much about, but it was a staff pick, which was interesting to me. And it says that it's supposed to be funny, so we'll see. I'll probably do a reading vlog reading this, because I don't know, I think I'm really gonna enjoy this. And I think y'all, I'm not gonna bother y'all with reading outside your comfort zone today, but I'm around back to it, and I'm gonna fuss at y'all. Next, we have Beloved by Toni Morrison. I have not read this book since I was about 14 or 15, and after reading Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward, shameless plug, I have a reading vlog about that book out already. You should watch it. It made me want to read Beloved again. I love historical fiction, and reading Let Us Descend triggered me to want to revisit some of my favorite historical fiction, and this is a book that imprinted on me a lot as a 14-year-old. I've watched the movie multiple times. It's actually one of my favorite book to movie adaptations. I actually remember getting in trouble. I went to a Catholic school growing up. I remember getting in trouble because I had this book in my hand. Like, it was from my mom's bookshelf, but I had the book with me because I was like reading it like whenever I could. And they were like, you can't read that here. A little racist. But I mean, I will agree that I don't think that I would let my 14-year-old read Beloved. I probably would. There are a lot of worse things that your 14-year-old could be doing, and reading a Toni Morrison book is not the worst on the list of things. Next, in that same vein, is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Again, reading Let Us Descend made me want to revisit these two. I've talked about this book before. I don't think I did a full review on it, but this is one of my favorite books. It is about young Hiram Walker, who is born into bondage, and he has powers. That's all I'll say. But I do want to revisit and annotate this, because when I read it the first time, I was not annotating books. So I wanted to get copies of both of these books that I can annotate and revisit and probably do videos on. Next, there's a theme here. There's a theme of the type of books that I like. Oh no, I ripped it. This is The Other Princess by Denny S. Bryce. This is a story about Queen Victoria's court. And so it says, with a brilliant mind and a fierce will to survive, Sarah Forbes Bonetta, a kidnapped African princess, is rescued from enslavement at 7 years old and presented to Queen Victoria as a gift. To the queen, the girl is an exotic trophy to be trotted out for the entertainment of the royal court and to showcase Victoria's magnanimity. I'm not saying that word correctly. It's all right. Sarah charms most people she meets, even those who would cast her aside. Her keen intelligence and her aptitude for languages and musical composition help Sarah navigate the Victorian era as an outsider given insider privileges. I was in the mood to read something similar to the book about Cleopatra that I read earlier. Hi, editor Shelby here. I ain't reading no damn book about no Cleopatra. I read about Nefertiti, and that's what I was trying to say. So yeah, I'm talking about Nefertiti. This year that I cannot think of the name of right now. If I remember, Shelby, the editor, will put a picture of it on the screen. But I was in the mood to read like a historical fiction that was about an actual person. And that is how I landed with this. Also, you know how I feel about books that have Black women, Black people on the cover. I just had to have it. This is beautiful. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sneeze. Next up, this is, I showed y'all a book upside down, Jesus. This is Dawn by Octavia Butler. This is the first in the Lilith's Brood series. So I started this a while ago. Don't know where my copy is. It's probably out there in that cart with all them damn books. But we not gonna talk about it. I started this. My good friend Jess, who is my book bestie, she was reading it. I want to go back and read it again, so I just grabbed another copy. I don't mind having multiple copies of Octavia Butler because it's Octavia Butler. I absolutely loved Kindred. What I will say though is that I think I enjoyed Kindred so much because it was historical fiction. So I guess we're just going to talk about reading outside of your comfort zone, right? I mentioned in the video that I did about reading outside your comfort zone that a way to help yourself bridge the gap, right, is to read within your genres and those genre bending books. So like a big part of Kindred is time travel, which makes it a book, a sci-fi book, but she's time traveling to the antebellum South, so it makes it historical fiction. I love historical fiction. I just do it. It soothes my need to learn. So that was a way for me to dip my toes into science fiction without feeling weird. What I will say, from what I remember my experience reading this, I was enjoying it. It pulled me in. The whole idea of this human being rescued, we'll say, by aliens and them wanting her to they want her to start Earth's race again, but to combine their race with the human race and for her to be the leader of this, right? It brings up a lot of different thought processes. What I will say is that if you're not into science fiction, this is going to make you feel dumb. Okay? I think one thing that I love about reading is that I can easily envision a lot of what I'm reading. It was hard for me to place a lot of the things, a lot of the other species in this book and like how their world looked. That was difficult for me, but I still enjoyed the story. I think I stopped reading it because I was on a time crunch with reading something else at the time. Like I still had the book club when I started reading this the first time. But I think I'm far enough removed from it that I can like go back and start this from the beginning and just sink my teeth into it. Next here we have we got a nice little stack of hardcovers. So this one on the top, I'm very, very excited about, and I will be doing a reading vlog on this one very soon. This is The Red Flags I've Repeatedly Ignored by Brianna Maccabee. She is a friend. She sent me this copy to review, and I'm super excited to read it. It is about her experiences in relationships and the things that she's learned and so on and so forth. I'm super, super excited. She's super kind. She is so inspirational. Even though I have not completed the book yet, she's so inspirational. She's so sweet. She had the cutest little tchotchkes in here. And this cute little note. Isn't that cute? I love stuff like this. I love when things are cute. I can't wait to read this and to talk to you guys about it. And it's it's so good. You can get a copy off of Amazon. I will tag her information below. Next, we have The Museum of Failures by Thriti Rigger. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I am not, I apologize. Sorry for my dog barking in the background. So this book I actually got from another bookstore here in New Jersey called The Collective Bookstore. It is in Verona on Bloomfield Avenue, another really good bookstore. They opened recently, and I go there fairly frequently. So again, finding authors. Big reason why I picked this up is because Marlon James did a blurb for this, and I like Marlon James mostly. So this one, it says, when Remy left India for the United States, he carried his resentment for his cold and inscrutable mother with him and has kept his distance from her. Years later, he returns to Bombay, planning to adopt a baby from a young pregnant girl and to see his elderly mother again before it is too late. She is in the hospital, has stopped talking, and seems to have given up on life. Struck with guilt for not realizing how ill she had become, Remy devotes himself to helping her recover and return home. But one day in her apartment, he comes upon an old photograph that demands explanation. As shocking family secrets surface, Remy finds himself reevaluating his entire childhood and his relationships to his parents, just as he is on the cusp of becoming a parent himself. It sounded good. I have not heard of this author before, but I kept seeing this book places, like in different bookstores, and I finally was just like, okay, obviously I need to pick it up. The book is speaking to me. Obviously I need to pick it up. Next, I have Coleman Hill. This is by Kim Coleman Foote. I hope that's correct too. A very beautiful black woman. She actually looks very familiar. I need to show that picture to my mother. She looks familiar. Born and raised in New Jersey. She looked like we know her. So it says, in 1916, during the early days of the Great Migration, Cecilia Coleman and Lucy Grimes flee the racism and poverty of their homes in the post-Civil War South for the promised land of Vauxhall, New Jersey. But the North possesses its own challenges and bigotries that will shape the fates of the women and their families over the next 70 years. I like a saga. Ooh, and there are pictures in here, guys. Ooh. I'm excited. This is a novel. I wonder who the pictures are of. I wonder if it's her family or if it's now I'm really excited to read this, and this might be what I read next. And Vauxhall, New Jersey is literally somewhere that like I visit. It's not far from me at all, so I go there fairly often. Next up we have this is another book, Chain Gang All Stars. I tried to do the audiobook for this and it wasn't hitting for what I needed it to. This is by Nana Kwame Aje Brenya. Send help if I didn't pronounce it correctly. He also wrote Friday Black. Do I have that? That sounds familiar. Says the blind man. So it says Loretta Thuar and Hamra Hurricane Stacker are the stars of the Chain Gang All-Star, the cornerstone of CAPE, or Criminal Action Penal Entertainment, a highly popular, highly controversial profit-raising program in America's increasingly dominant private prison industry. It's the return of the gladiators, and prisoners are competing for the ultimate prize, their freedom. Again, I tried the audiobook and it just wasn't hitting. Baby, y'all be complaining about men not acting right and breakups in relationships and bad service at restaurants and things like that, but you don't know the pain that is a bad audiobook. You don't know what that feels like. You don't know hurt until you've been wanting to listen to a book for a long time and you turn it on and sound like somebody reading the damn dictionary. Chabu. Okay, next we have Night Watch by Jane Ann Phillips, historical fiction, because you know that's my jam. So it says in 1874, in the wake of the war, erasure, trauma, and nameless haunt civilians and veterans, renegades and wanderers, freedom men and runaways. 12-year-old Connolly, the adult in her family for as long as she can remember, Jesus Christ, the baby is 12, finds herself on a buckward journey with her mother Eliza, who hasn't spoken in more than a year. They arrive at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Baby, the last place I want to be is in West Virginia and in a lunatic asylum at the same. Baby, no. If you let me tell it, the gateway to hell is in the broom closet somewhere in West Virginia. Anyway, if you live there, I apologize. Your place is scary for things and people and creatures that look like myself. Delivered to the hospital's entrance by a war veteran who has forced himself into their world. There, far from family, a beloved neighbor, and the mountain home they knew, they tried to reclaim their lives. This was the winner of... It was on a short list or a long list of something. I saw that. And it has a few authors on here that I know that I like. One of which being Tiara Jones. I like her. I like her writing. And then last but certainly not least, this is not the last. I have one more that I have to go out and get that I really, really, really want to talk about. This is The Ascent by Stephen Hertzman. It's about a house. It's a story about a book. It's a historical fiction about a book that is about the house that the author has lived in or is currently living in. It is fiction. I did read a couple of pages so far and it kind of have my interest. I'm curious to see where this goes, but it says in 1979, Stephen Hertzman became obsessed with a rundown townhouse he had purchased in Ghent, a city in northwest Belgium that dates back to the Middle Ages. The most recent owner was mentioned only in passing during the acquisition, and it wasn't until decades after Hertzman had sold the house that he came across a memoir by the man's son, Adrian Verhulst, a distinguished history professor and former teacher of Hertzman's, which revealed that Verhulst's father, William, had been an SS officer during World War II and was responsible for unspeakable crimes. Sounded interesting to me that, like, the connection, like him, the teacher, ended up living in the same house. The house was owned by an SS officer. Like, that was just, I'm a woo-woo girl, okay? So this is leaning towards the woo-ness. But I also like history, so I want to know more. Okay, one more book. Two more books. Two more. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. Y'all know he is one of my favorites, my absolute favorites. And I tried to listen to this. I tried to listen to the audiobook with my mom. It did not work because I like to listen to audiobooks sped up. And I was trying to hurry up and read this the week before Let Us Ascend came out, and I was just too anxious about Let Us Ascend, so I couldn't really sink into this the way that I wanted to. But it says in 1972, when the workers of Pottstown, Pennsylvania were digging the foundations for a new housing development, the last thing they expected to uncover was a human skeleton. Who the human was and how it got buried there were just two of the long-held secrets that had been kept for decades by the residents of Chicken Hill, the dilapidated neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans live side by side, sharing ambitions and sorrows. So James McBride never does me wrong. I don't really think he does anybody wrong, to be honest with you. So I'm excited to read that. And then last but certainly not least, One Blood by Deneen Milner, I want to say. So it says, raised by her beloved grandmother in tension-filled post-segregation Virginia, Grace is barely a teenager when she loses her mama. Shell-shocked, she is shipped up north to live with her formidably ambitious Aunt Hattie, a woman who firmly left behind her undesirable southern roots in pursuit of upward mobility. That's all I'm going to read of the synopsis. What I will say to you is that I got the audiobook for this, and the first chapter, I was like, oh, I need to read the physical copy. Like, listening to the audiobook is not going to be enough. I need the physical copy. And I cannot wait to read this. There's just this gonna be a powerful one. This gonna be a moving one. This is gonna be one that, even if it doesn't win any awards, which I mean, I can't speak for the, I'm knocking around the camera, my bad, y'all, I ain't mean to bust you in your head, I'm sorry. I can't speak for the entirety of the book, but if the first chapter speaks for any of the rest of the book, I know that One Blood is going to be like one of my favorite reads of the year. So I plan to read this before the end of the year. I mean, my plan is to read all of these books before the end of the year. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But yeah, so if any of these pique your interest, they are in the underneath a bar in my Amazon storefront. If you would like to support me or any of these authors, you can get them. Isn't the cover beautiful too? That poor baby. She's so pretty though. Her eyes so sad. It'd be like that sometimes, y'all. It'd be like that. But yeah, if no one has told you today, I love you. You're kind. You are smart. You are important. If to nobody else, to me. And I will see you soon. Bye, friends.